what's up guys, I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm on the streets, and today I am here with another video kind of about my Nexus 7, but also about just Android in general. As you might remember, I did review the Nexus 7, I did like a 45-minute review video a couple months ago. I mentioned that I used a DPI hack to get a full tablet experience on the tablet. I did root, and I did that because the Nexus 7 comes with a phablet UI, and I upped the DPI of the screen, or the reported DPI, and basically what that meant was the Nexus 7, when Google ships it to you, if you just get a brand new Nexus 7 and turn it on, it's going to have a phablet UI, which means that even though it is a 7-inch tablet, if you just get a Nexus 7 and turn it on, then you're going to be basically using a blown-up phone interface, which obviously, you know, if you've got a bigger screen, you want software that's optimized for the bigger screen. Android is very good, you know, in all other respects, being optimized for the hardware that it's on, and at least in terms of the Nexus products. But the phablet UI is something that me and a lot of other people really didn't like, and the DPI hack was a very simple way to bypass that. Basically, the DPI hack reported to the operating system that this had a bigger screen, and that worked at the time, but it broke some apps in the market, because some apps only worked with certain screen sizes or certain DPIs. So yeah, that was kind of an issue. You could get the full tablet experience, but then you couldn't download every app that you wanted to. Well, there's a not really new at all. I've been using this for months. There's an Android ROM, and a ROM, well, ROM technically stands for read-only memory. I'll start there. ROM, it's an acronym. But when talking about Android devices, a ROM is sort of, it's an Android distribution. Just like Linux, you know, we've got like Ubuntu, Fedora, OpenSUSE are all distributions. Android, we've got different ROMs. We've got the stock ROM, which is what Google ships. We've got CyanogenMod, probably is the one you've heard of, if you've heard of any before. ParanoidAndroid is the one that I'm talking about today. And ParanoidAndroid has a few features that they kind of emphasize, but the main one is, other than being pretty much stock ROM, is their hybrid UI. So what the hybrid UI does is, as you can see, this lock screen is, you know, things are the same size as they would be on a brand new Nexus tablet. However, the bar is still at the bottom. It's still the special tablet notification bar, which has, you know, the home button, back button, multitasking button, all on the left side, and then on the right side, you've got the pull up from the bottom notification area, which is something that I'm trying to make this as clear as possible in case you still don't know what I'm talking about. There's a different mode for Android on tablets as there is on phones. And the Nexus 7, despite being a tablet, ships with the phone mode activated. Now, once again, switching to the tablet mode normally would break the App Store. You wouldn't be able to download many apps being in tablet mode through a hack on here. But ParanoidAndroid has something called a hybrid UI, or that's just what they call it. I'm not quite sure how it works, but you don't really need to be sure how it works. As you can see, settings, we do have, this is one of the differences also between the phone mode and tablet mode. Tablet mode, you've got multiple columns in your settings area and your email, just in pretty much everything. Multiple columns, because you've got more screen space, so you can do that. So if we go to hybrid properties in ParanoidAndroid, then first of all we've got just a few options right off the bat. There's stock UI, which is the phablet workspace. Phone UI and tablet UI are a couple of things listed on there, and I hope you guys can see this. I mean, yeah, brightness is all the way up. Trying to explain it as much as I can, as well as show it to you. So yeah, if we swipe over here, this is what makes ParanoidAndroid different from normal hacks. Normally, if you hack your Nexus or whatever it is into tablet mode, everything uses the same DPI. So whatever size you specify, that is what the operating system itself uses. That's what the home screen uses. That's what the Play Store uses. That's what all of your apps use. However, we have some advanced options on Paranoid Android. You can actually go to Apps, and as you can see, first of all, there is a general settings area. If we go to Interface, I should have started with that. We've got Workspace, and I've set that to Tablet UI. And then you've got Global Apps, so System Apps I set to Tablet, User Apps, I set everything to Tablet. And I personally chose 180 DPI for all of the global apps, because, you know, it doesn't really start you off with anything different for those. That's what I use. The mode does it have columns or not? The mode involves, you know, where is the bar on the screen, the notification bar. What the DPI does is more the size of things. So you can have multiple columns through Paranoid Android. You can have multiple columns on your screen without making things smaller. However, you know, the bigger things aren't really going to fit in the columns very well. So that's why I turned the size down as well when I switched to tablet mode. So, as you can see, we have apps. And the reason this is significant is because this means you can have different apps running at different sizes and different modes depending on what you want. For instance, the Android system is running at 213 DPI. Now, the launcher, which is the home screen, is running at 190. So the launcher, you know, is made smaller, so more things fit on the screen at one time. But the Play Store and the Android system are still at 213. They don't know that you've changed anything. Therefore, you can still download any app you want from the App Store, because, yeah, the App Store doesn't realize that you're using an unsupported resolution. And that's not going to break apps. It's just a matter of reporting to the App Store, you know, this is what DPI I have. And that's just a matter of, you know, the App Store wasn't designed for installing things on hacked devices. So, you know, this kind of works around that. And the system, the Google Play Store, and, you know, a couple other things don't really know that you've changed anything. However, you can also change things one by one, like YouTube I have set to 190, even though I have 180 for everything else. YouTube I wanted a little smaller, or I guess a little bigger, that would make it. Same with settings, I've set that a little bigger than everything else. So you can go through, and if you want a phone mode or a tablet mode, or a specific size for text and buttons and things in any specific app, you can actually change things on an app-by-app basis, rather than just changing things for everything at once. Now, once again, Paranoid Android calls this the hybrid UI, and the hybrid UI is the main thing I'm going to be talking about in this video. This isn't really a review of Paranoid Android itself. Even though it is a really great ROM, I really don't use any of the other features of Paranoid Android other than the hybrid UI, so that's all I can really talk about. So yeah, just right off the bat, and I'll be throwing screenshots up of the stock Nexus 7, and this is the original Wi-Fi version, not the 2013 version, but I'll be throwing screenshots up so you can compare this versus what you get out of the box. As you can see, the home screen, we have, you know, just more icons here. If we go to the launcher, it might become more apparent. Look at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 12, 18. We've got 48 icons on the screen at one time in the app drawer, which is way more than you get, you know, just out of the box. And if you don't like that, if you want to make the launcher have bigger icons, so not as many are on the screen at one time, because Paranoid Android has app-by-app settings, you can do that. You can go through and specify, okay, for everything else I want the tablet interface, but for the launcher specifically, I want a bigger size. So that's nice that you can do that. As you can see, I don't know if the widgets change, because we've still got 6 widgets on the screen at one time. But yeah, and as you can see, this is nice and smooth. Paranoid Android right now, or at least the version I've got installed, is based off of Android 4.3, which is, the newest version of Android that is released right now. It's still Jelly Bean, I think. So yeah, Paranoid Android, I installed it using the GU manager. However, which goo.im is a really popular Android file hosting service for developers. However, Paranoid Android does have a built-in over-the-air updater, so you can update your Android version as new Paranoid Android versions come out, just as if you are on stock UI. Just throwing that out there. Once again, this isn't really a review of Paranoid Android itself, just saying. I'm just going to run through some of the apps that I do this specifically for. You might be asking, why do you need the tablet mode rather than the phone mode? One thing is email. Normally, email would all be like in one list. On the phone interface, you get a list of email, you tap that, and then it opens up the email in a new sort of window type thing, whatever you want to. It completely puts the email on the screen and takes the list off the screen. But with Paranoid Android, we've actually got multiple columns. Normally, to see this second column on a phone, you would have to swipe from the left and get that. If you have an Android phone, then you can open up Gmail, and you know what I'm talking about. This is not displayed all the time on a phone. Normally, when this is open, you can't really scroll this, but since I'm in the tablet mode, I've got multiple columns. I've got my inbox right now, but I can go to a folder. Say I can go to my band folder and see all of my band-related emails. There's 2 in there, but as you can see, I tap a column over here, and the stuff comes up over here. I can tap an email and see I've got the email list over here and the email open at the same time, which is something that, like I said, on a phone you would tap the email and you wouldn't be able to see the list anymore. It would just be the email. I know these things don't sound that important when you're just talking about them, but when you're actually using these on a daily basis, then it really does increase productivity, just being able to see. I'm going to open up this email, and I can open up just this email, and I can just switch between different emails and see them there. It really does make your work go faster when organizing your emails. Oh, another thing that's good about the tablet interface, rather than the phablet or phone interface, this is something that you cannot do if you just buy a Nexus 7 and turn it on. Make sure it actually did it. Yeah. Landscape home screen. That is just right off the bat. Like, you cannot rotate your home screen on a stock Nexus 7 device. You either have to apply a hack, or, Paranoid Android does it for me. And, yeah. Now I can have landscape home screen, landscape app drawer, and yeah, just another example, you can't do that without the tablet hack. So yeah, I'm going to go to YouTube next, and YouTube again is something where it's just another matter of having more than one thing on the screen at one time. Normally, all you would see is your video list, and then you'd have to swipe over from the left to get this second column. But since we're in tablet mode here, you can actually see your whatever that's called, your categories column, at the same time as your video list. And as you can see, I accidentally tapped on something there, but as you can see, when you open a video in tablet mode, and you can see all this if you've got a 10-inch Android tablet. I'm just saying this for people who own a Nexus 7 and aren't really sure what the tablet hack's going to give them. As you can see, normally on a phone, if you tap a video, the video is going to be full screen. But since we're in tablet mode here, I can see, I can see likes and dislikes, as well as how many views the video has along the bottom. And I've got the description on the side, and I can scroll through and see comments and stuff. So yeah, just another example that's more stuff on the screen at one time. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it really does help productivity. So yeah, I know this is kind of a trivial video. And if you've ever used one of these, then you're probably thinking, like, yeah, duh, well, I installed that. But people who have not installed these before, you know, aren't really sure what it's going to give them. As you can see on the home screen, I've got more icons on the screen than you normally could. I've got them nice and spread out, and they are smaller because of that. Because, you know, to fit more things on the screen, stuff has to be smaller. So yeah, you can balance it out however you want. You can set whatever size you want for things. And you just kind of have to play around with the numbers. Because it doesn't let you, like, drag and drop whatever size you want. You have to specify a DPI and a mode. So you just play around with it until you find what you want. If I go to Chrome, if we were in the stock UI interface, then everything would be blown up a little bit more. You'd have to scroll more. But since we're in tablet mode, we can see the entire web page at once. Obviously, you can still zoom in, you know, double tap to zoom in on some text if you need to read things easier, but it's just something that, you know, is nice to be able to have more stuff on the screen at once. Once again, that's basically the entire point of the tablet hack, is to have more stuff on the screen at one time. So yeah, now I will say, I really like using my tablet in portrait mode, just because that's how it feels more natural holding it for me. However, the tablet interface is optimized for landscape mode, not for portrait mode. So if you're going to grab ParanoidAndroid and use the hybrid UI, then you are probably going to end up using your tablet in landscape mode a lot more. I mean, just saying, it's not a big deal for me, but yeah, the Nexus 7 is pretty small, so you can do that. So yeah, this is all by ParanoidAndroid, the hybrid properties, that is. And like I said, the hybrid properties basically takes the tablet mode hack, and it makes it easy to use, and not as buggy. So yeah, if you want to check out ParanoidAndroid, the official website is ParanoidAndroid.co. However, that's under maintenance. Most of what ParanoidAndroid does, they actually publish on their Facebook, not Facebook, they actually publish on their Google Plus page, and their hashtag #StayParanoid. But yeah, they're just ParanoidAndroid on Google Plus. And yeah, you can run over to Google Plus. You've got the README section of their posts. You've got the features. And ParanoidAndroid does have a few features other than the hybrid properties. They've got, you know, their Halo interface and Pi controls, which is basically all having to do with the notification bar. And then they've got some custom settings other than the hybrid properties. But yeah, if you have a Nexus 7 and you want the tablet interface, but you don't necessarily want to, you know, have the bugginess that sometimes comes with that, or you don't want to have to, you know, root your, well, you still have to root your device. If you don't necessarily want to go in and change the settings yourself, then ParanoidAndroid is a much, even though it still requires a little bit of technical literacy to use, it's still a whole lot easier than applying the hack yourself. If you need a tutorial installing ParanoidAndroid, I don't have plans to make that. If a couple people need it, then I will make it. I've kind of got things set up the way I like them right now, which is why I didn't, like, just make the tutorial off the bat. But if you need some specific help installing ParanoidAndroid on your Nexus, then yeah, just let me know. I guess I could restore back to stock and install ParanoidAndroid again. So yeah, I know this was kind of a short video, but hope I got my point across. And like I said, this weekend I am going to be finishing up yet another rewrite of the beta site, although I did get some outside help from Melinda Grigg. You probably haven't heard of her before because she doesn't really have an online presence. But yeah, I got some outside help with art development and web development, just, you know, in general. So yeah, going to be pushing some new updates to the website that are going to be moving out of the beta stage and into the published and ready to use stage. That last update was mainly for code, and this new update that you'll be able to find nerdonthestreet.com, like, by the end of this weekend, will have a nicer design. So yeah, I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm the Runner of the Streets, and I will see you later. See ya.